hello and welcome back to the Executive Movie Tycoon Let's Play, episode 2. We're gonna hop back into this. Again, kind of recording these in batches, so keep leaving feedback. I'll obviously see it, and then once I hit a stop recording point with these episodes, try to make these improvements. I think this episode will go by a bit faster than the first one, kind of explaining a lot of systems, but I think we kind of get the gist of what we're doing here, so we're going to get cracking. Where we left off, let's talk about where we left off. So we had just created the Star Wars. It was successful, right? Moderately successful. And we had our new objectives set up here, right? So get 40 mil or more than 40 mil in the bank and move to a small office. And so we look right here, we have 37 million in cash. Now, one thing we didn't really talk about, we talked about it briefly when we selected our difficulty for this, but we haven't really looked at it since. We kind of jumped in, did some movies, kind of explained a lot of other things, but we didn't talk about that financial aspect and mostly the loans. If you remember, when we selected the medium difficulty, we started with 30 mil, but I think we also started with 33 million that we owed in a loan, and that money has been deducted or taken out of our account every single month. So let's look at the finance tab here and see where we're at. Look at our studio cash flow. Look at that. We had a lot of bad months and a couple of big months, and then so this 55.8k might be the base of what's being taken out. So you see we have our finance for our studios, we have our movie finances as well. Yeah, we've got like, what, a couple of movies, I guess, out. Let's look at our loans. So there's obviously a bunch of different loans here that we can take, but let's talk about the loan we have right now. So we have a Hollywood bank loan, the value of 30 mil, revenue share of 10%. So it takes 10% of our revenue, and the total to pay back is 33 million. Now we have 33.1 left over, 31.3 million left over to pay, because again, they've been taking out money monthly from us, as well as taking out money from their share of our revenue. So we have 37 mil in the bank right now. We could repay this loan of 31.3, and that would leave us, what, a little bit over 5 million in the bank, possibly. Now remember, we want to get to this 40 million in our bank, and I mean, like, we're close to that. We could just keep paying on this loan and, you know, eventually, you know, get more money from different releases, get the money up more, then move to a new office where we can get, you know, more people in there, possibly begin to start diving into some larger budget movies. But I mean, look, we're only 2 years into our journey here, technically, in this game, right? And I don't know about you, but I don't like being in debt. So one thing we have to keep in mind is, again, like, Game Dev Tycoon, sure, I think mostly of a different game called Software Inc. When you're going to move, you have to think about how much it's going to cost to move and how much the different startup costs for different projects will be. If we decide to get 40 mil, right, we reach that 40 mil, we need more if we're going to move, because it's going to cost us that money to move to an office, and we need to still have money left over to actually finance production on subsequent movies. I think what I want to do here is actually pay off our loan, get debt free. It'll leave us with enough money to produce a movie or two. Now, if they flop, we're donezo. We put the kibosh on everything, right? But if they're able to make us a little bit of money like they have been doing, then we can start to build back up that cash on hand, and eventually move to a small office, completely debt-free, just having to pay for that office move out of pocket, and we can keep doing our thing. So I think that's what I want to do. I want to get us out of debt, okay? I want to take a chapter out of Dave Ramsey's playbook here, and let's get us out of debt. So let's repay that now. A lot of money. Are we ready? Oof. And we're done. We're done. We've got that paid off. We've got that royalty deal paid off. If we need more loans, we've got them here, but I don't think I want to. We've got 5.6 mil left over. That should be enough to finance our next production, right? Black Eye is finishing up his analytics on to the Star Wars, so that can give us some indication. So we learned some things here. Special effects, we were right on the money with 40% for sci-fi, and writing 30% on the money for sci-fi. So we know that those two things need to be there for a sci-fi. We still haven't discovered the affinity link between space and sci-fi. I think it's safe to assume those probably work, but we got some insight. So that's a good thing to know. So now that we're out of that, let's pause for a second because we've got time going here. Analytics, yeah, we're done there. We only have one research point, so we can't really research anything else. Black Eye is bored out of his mind. So let's get to working on another movie. I think that's the only thing we can do, really. So we're going to go with a small budget film. Genre, let's go to genre. When I think I want to choose theme first. You know what? Why not go for a gangster movie? Let's go for a gangster. I mean, I think gangster crime is kind of like it's hand in hand, obviously. Let's go for R. And let's see what we can get here. Remember we talked about script. Okay. Look at that. We've got some real things. 30. Look at this. 0.5% on the back end, but I'll take that. Let's look for a lead role here. Hubert Scales. Not great on script, not great on critics, but good domestic. And we just paid a lot of money. We want to get some money back. He also wants 2.5% on the back end. Katharine Hepburn right there. I just watched Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Katharine Hepburn. Great movie. Great actress, obviously. A little bit younger. This guy, nowhere near as much, like almost half the domestic popularity. But he's really good with critics, and he'd really excel with the script, and he's only 10K. He doesn't want any points on the back end. We want money. I mean, we don't have a loan to pay anymore, so maybe we can go with 2.5%. I mean, he's also 5 times expensive. We're going with Godfrey Cambridge. We got to be a little bit more studious here because we're running low. We're real low on the money, and we're scrappy. And we're not going to call it The Godfather. We're going to call it The Father of God. How about this is a gangster crime movie where maybe it's about a son who went into the parish, became a priest to get out of his family because his family's business is the mafia. It's crime, and they roped him. He tried to get out, and they pulled him back in. Right? Maybe that's our story for this. Black Guy as our CEO finally has that production skill of 20, which is the target. So we're going to be able to push this out in 6 months with 2 mil. That's our base. Now remember, we did unlock some premium features, and we may want to use that for this movie. So let's go next, and let's speed it up here. Go a little bit faster than we did in that first episode, since we kind of know how things are cooking. Alrighty, so when I think crime and crime movies typically rely a lot on writing. So I think the writing is nice to push here. That makes sense to push here. Costume, makeup, set design. I feel like let's take down set design a little because I want to push writing even higher. And now again, we have some premium features here. Let's look at script being one of them. So we can do subtext writing. So again, we looked at what subtext writing does. It adds a little bit more layers to it. It's $50,000 to add this feature, right? And so what this is supposed to do is it's supposed to improve the production value of your movie, but it needs to hit certain requirements. And these are these other requirements it talks about. So it has a cost, an additional cost of $50,000. In order for this benefit to work for your movie, this needs to reach an avocado meter of greater than 7. So that means it needs to have a critic score higher than 7 for this to actually take effect. And in order for this to be an option, the writing needs to be above 20%. So we meet that criteria. I think this is going to work. So we're going to add subtext writing to this, and we can add another if we want. This right here is, let's see, what does this fall under? This falls under, I think, sets, right? Set design. So we can add a breakable set. Let's say there's someone gets tossed in a chair or a table breaks, right? This requires a soda meter or audience score of greater than 5 and just 20 for set design. I think this will easily hit that. So let's add that too. So we've added 2 premium features to improve our production value. It's going to cost us an extra $100,000 though. So that's the trade-off, you know? But I think it'll be worth it. Again, we got to have this movie hit. It's got to hit. We got to get some bank on this, you know? All right. Let's see here. I think all of this is pretty fine. I'm going to boost up editing 5, and I think I'm going to boost up special effects 5, right? Tommy guns, blanks, you know, your blood splatters and different stuff like that, right? That's what I think of. So let's hit next on that. We're filming it. Alrighty. It's time for distribution. We've got Belinda Cruz here for our sales. We're going to keep that going and let her cook. Alrighty. So we've got 3 possible distributors here. 45% split, 48% split, and a 43% split. Let's look at this one. So Warner Brothers, nothing there. It's Easter, and it's 2.5 stars. AIP, no real benefits there. It's only 1 star, and they have another crime movie. And we have United Artists, also has another crime movie. Again, other releases, and it has summer, but this has that. It's a little bit more, it's the highest split of all of them, but I think it has the highest probability of making us a profit. So let's roll with Warner Brothers. Let's roll with the WB, huh? And let's see what happens. 8, 9, 8.5, 9.5, 8. An avocado meter of 8.6 and a soda meter of 8.9. This movie is bona fide. It is bona fide. The Father of God. We're going to keep that in mind as we progress further in this game, because this might be something we want to come back to and turn into a franchise. Okay, so that's excellent. That's an excellent score. So we're going to go to analytics. We're going to click on Father of God, and we're immediately going to have Black Guy generate some insights for that. We want to know what made this work. Ooh, immediately, profit of 400, 1.1. Look at that. Okay, so actually, we went too high on special effects and too low on set design. That's good to know. Again, you see it worked out as a B. We got a C on premium features. Remember, before we were kind of averaging around a D. B with marketing, A with affinity, C with the premium features, so we know we can add more later on. A with competition, again, we didn't have any competition. C with trends and fatigue, and this notes like how fatigued audiences are with a particular trend, or you know, basically your theme, right? We don't know that because we don't have that ability to unlock to do that yet, but we will eventually. But yeah, that's good to know. All right. So it's completed its theatrical run. Domestic of 14, exhibitors got 7. Our third-party distributor got 3 and 3.7, up against our 2.1 film budget. Talent share of 187, so they made some decent money. We banked 1.3. We've got a little bit more money than we had before, and that's exactly what we need. We need to have some successful movies here. So, what's up next? What do we do next? We know we've got 89 research point here. Let's actually research some things. So we have sales unlocked, obviously. We need to get more research points to unlock some of these other things. So let's look at some more production and post-production, and maybe we grab one of those and maybe we look up some more themes. So we got production. Maybe we look at post-production here. Some editing, film scoring. Song licensing. We could this allows us to incorporate famous licensed tracks. What was I did that would put us at 29, which means we would need one more research point in order to research a theme. Let's look at stunts. Ooh, fight choreography. That might have been useful for that. Wire work. Let's do fight choreography. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially, I think we might want to start making more kind of action-y type movies, and fight choreography would work well for that. While we're here, let's look up some more. Let's try unlock a couple more themes. Like, we don't want to get stale with what we're making. We've got plenty of options, but let's just get us a Rolodex of things. So, supernatural, dragon, werewolf, and family relationships. I don't like this at all. I wish eventually I would hope that they would maybe add a feature where it's 30 to roll, but maybe for 15 or 20 you can re-roll. That would be a pretty cool option I have there. But for this, let's see. I mean, I think of Paranormal Activity, right? Werewolf, I don't love werewolf. Dragon, I don't even know what is it. Besides How to Train Your Dragon, what is a dragon movie? There's movies with dragons in them, sure, but I don't know about a dragon movie. So let's do family relationships. Let's think of something like, I'm trying to think of movies, right? I don't know. Family relationship movies. any kind. There's plenty of those, right? The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. What is that? I don't know what the hell that is. Anyway, we got 29 here. So, I mean, let's pause right here and let's pick like a totally like out there, maybe. Let's try to figure out some things, right? So we've got these other new themes. These plus signs means these are themes we haven't used yet. So we're in August. We think that on average it's taking us about 6 months to produce something. So if we're in August, I mean, 12, you know, we're basically mostly through August. So basically in September. So that kind of puts us into the first quarter of, or the first half of next year. So near maybe spring, summertime, what do we want for that? Maybe let's do war. Let's do, you know what? I've been doing a bit of, no, let's do war. Because I just did another R-rated movie, but I mean, it went well, so I say, why not? And let's do a war biography. I mean, that's not really award time, but I mean, let's make a little awardy movie. Heck, maybe, you know, the Father of God was kind of an awardy movie. Let's maybe see if we can stretch our legs in this for a little bit. And look at that, Gene Kelly. So you see here, we finally have a little bit of unlocking of international potential here. Now that boots up the cost significantly. And right now we still don't have the ability to release movies internationally. So we'd be paying for basically something that's not really worth it. Don Taylor would do really good with the script. Pretty decent with critics and pretty decent domestic box office for what we need right now. It's $30K with 1% participation points on the back end. I cannot talk today. So that'd be good for directing. Now let's look at our actor. Our lead. Julia Birkeber? Don't know how to pronounce that. Someone wants to help me out with that. I mean, I'm not crazy about anyone here. This is the highest domestic. Pretty crappy score with critics, but... So maybe this isn't a critical darling. Maybe this is just a movie, we see how it works. So this could maybe be about a lady sniper. There was a book that came out about a lady Russian sniper that was based on a true story. So I think it's something about her having like 300 kills. Let's call it Lady 300. I like that. I think that's interesting. Perhaps not. Black guys set to produce it. 6 months, a little bit over 2 mil. So you see we're getting more and more efficient. Let's boogie. Let's see how this works. Now this is a biography. I'm not sure if there's a lot of biographies. Let's speed this up. If there's a lot of biographies that have a lot of action in them, right? So For script, I think subtext writing works. Breakable sets, I don't think works. And though it would help to throw premium features at it to improve the score, if it doesn't really work, like, you know, I don't know if this is going to be a movie that gets an 8 with audiences, and therefore it'd be $50K for nothing, right? So we're just going to roll with that for right now. Alrighty. So remember, we did unlock some other things. That was fight choreography. We're not going to use that here. I have a feeling that special effects are going to be lower, and if anything, the sound design and the editing will be higher. Let's go. Ooh, so we got nominated in the Rammies, which are basically the equivalent of their Oscars, I believe. Now, you look at these, I don't think we got a shot, but I mean, we got the best audience. No, we don't have the best audience score. Yeah, so The Godfather might beat out Father of God, and I ain't mad at it, actually. Alrighty, get Belinda Cruz here. Now, you've noticed Belinda has been getting better consistently. Her networking's at 20, negotiation at 15, trust at 18. So she's almost hitting the full 3 marks on the bare minimum for this to be. I reached the highest potential of success, I guess, for what we're doing right now. Okay, awesome. So we got a bunch of distributors. People are really starting to dig Player Studio. Paramount. Now, Paramount is a generalist. Paramount also wants our movie genre. They want to release it the World Cup summertime. Now, let's look at what they've got. So they've got Chinatown, so they don't have anything that's competing with us. 3 stars. So Universal has 3.5. So that would help there, but we're a better fit because we have a genre that they want. They're also a generalist. So this would help us in regards to profitability. I think Paramount is the way we go. Now let's see what happens. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, chickens, ducks, and hens. We won an award. I've never won an award. I don't know if I heard the Steam, like, I don't know what they call it, Steam achievement thing pop up. I've never won an award in this game before. This is insane. I can't believe the Father of God be Godfather. John Borman and Black Guy. We won a 1974 Rami. That is unbelievable. I've never done this before for Best Picture. Next. Oh, okay. That's it. Well, guess what? We're an award-winning studio now. We're an award-winning studio. Now watch this freaking movie come out and bomb. I mean, I feel like it's. I feel like ladies. Oop, 8, 7, 8, 7, 7.5. Okay, not terrible. Not terrible. And you know what? If we would have added the breakable sets, it actually would have counted towards it. So I mean, hey, we lucked out. That is fantastic. I am over the moon right now, as I would say, for someone in a much older generation. I actually am. I don't know who the hell says over the moon right now, but I did. I am over the moon. That is great. We're doing analytics on Lady 300. What are we learning? We're learning that we were not high enough on the editing. Editing needs to be 50 for a biography, and I get it. What else did we learn? We also learned over here, affinity, that war and biography is an excellent combination, right? I think that's a given. We kind of know how trends work or how things work in real life movies, so that makes sense. But wow, 50% for editing. Okay. Another theatrical run. A, B, A, C, A, C. Okay. Again, we average out to B. A little bit of money here. A little bit more money than I actually thought we would get from this movie. Nice. Nice. Right beneath Chinatown. As far as that date. All right. So let's pause and let's regroup here. Because there's a lot that just happened in the past 2 minutes. One, we won an award for Father of God. And number 2, we learned some more things about the genre of war and biography. Some things we could easily assume, but we've learned some things. That's great. Have been an award-winning studio. We've got a buttload of research points here. We can open up possibilities like sequels. This allows us to create franchises. Remember I talked about the possibility of that. And the analytics department, it allows us to hire analysts where we can start to generate reports on trends and themes. Remember before when I talked about how the trend fatigue happens, right? Well, those researchers allow you to kind of see what things will be popular, what things won't be popular, and you can kind of produce and build movies in anticipation of those things being popular, and it'll help you at the box office, and maybe it'll help you critically as well. Training for moderate, and then again, small office. We talked about that. We need 100 research points for that. We're nowhere near what we need for that. We're at 7.4. We need 40. Now remember, when we got done paying off our loan, we were at 5.6, I think. So we're almost a couple mil up based on these two movies. We need to start banging out a bunch more of them. So I think we're gonna look at, let's see here, let's look at some more things for pacing, for editing. That might help us. Let's see, I like montage sequences. Gotta have a montage. Especially if we end up doing a sports movie, gotta have a montage. Let's look at production and maybe set armor, right? Let's provide some more realistic weapons and combat props. I like that. So we've got 50 research points, 54. Do we want to do another theme, or do we want to research another? I mean, let's research something else, right? Let's do Foley, right? Let's do Foley. Foley artists for good sound effects. Alrighty. And let's, before we end, let's get another movie in. And we're going to do kind of the same thing we did before. I always do that. Oh, okay. Now, here's one that I think I know. We're in October. One that I haven't done before is a heist movie. Let's do a comedy heist. Let's make it PG-13. I think this is going to work. Richard Brooks as our director. Oh, what was Richard Brooks'? He's 10%, 2.5. I'll give him that. Oh, actually, let's check. Okay, no, international. Good. Roberta Collins. I like 87, 930. I like this. I like this. 50K, 1% back in. Pick for me. We want to name this what? Let's name this. Ooh. Diamonds Are Forever. You guys remember that? That's the theme song to a James Bond movie, right? Alrighty, so there we go. Let's get going. Alright. So I think about comedy and I think about heists. I think about writing. So I think the writing has got to be up here. I'm going to go 45%. And I'm going to go... Actually, I'll go 40%. And let's see here. Let's do subtext writing. Let's do breakable sets. And I think we can only get 2 right now. Yeah. So let's go there. No, I feel unsure about this. I've never done the heist theme. So a heist movie, I think, needs good editing. Special effects, I can lower that, and I think let's bump up the sound design and music. Heist movies tend to have some pretty good music to them. And montage sequences. Okay, now it's 200 grand to add this. The soda meter needs to be at least 6, and I think it will be. Let's get our movie up there. Now let's look at fight choreography. Not a lot of fights typically happen in heist movies, but I don't think enough for fight choreography. Let's just roll what we got here. So domestic, Belinda, get on it. I don't think we have any movies for gas. So the Rammies are something else. The Gaspers might be their approximation of the Oscars. Okay, so look at this. We've got a lot of pretty decent options here. Universal seems maybe quite possibly they have the most stars. They won a 49% split. It's a summer release. They want comedies, but they have another comedy crime movie, a Woody Allen one. So probably multiple crimes happening on that set. Let's see here. If we go to Warner Brothers, they have another comedy one happening. Paramount is a generalist. What do they have? They have a comedy one happening. Okay, so the most ideal options are not the most ideal options, and that's why you have to kind of audit all of these potential places. So they have a comedy, and Fox has 2 comedies. So now we reach a situation where we're going to have competition no matter where we go. And yeah, this is a comedy crime. I think I said before, yeah, comedy crime. We have a comedy heist. That one's also PG-13. This one's also PG-13. They have less movies that they're releasing. They also have the highest split. Did I just click on that one? This one. Memorial Day. 2.5, 3. I think I'm gonna go with. Let's see here. It's difficult because they want our genre. I think I'm gonna go with Warner Brothers. It's kind of a no-win right there. Let's see how things crack up. 7, 9.5, 8, 7.5, and 7.5. All right. Okay, it's okay. So I think potentially we won't lose money on this, hopefully. Let's get Black Guy onto generating insights on this. Okay, good. We're making money. We're profitable. I think paying off that loan and getting rid of those additional revenue splits of 10%, I think that's really helpful. So we look at this, right? So we shot a little bit too high on comedy and set design and not high enough on the writing. So we know that for next time. We also didn't get, it wasn't determined if that has an affinity or not, either for the theme or for the actual audience. But again, it's something we can experiment with to figure out later. Competition, remember there was competition and knocked this down to a B. But this is maybe our most profitable movie. So, I mean, hey, what do you know? Number 2 at the box office, underneath The Return of the Pink Panther, which freaking just did numbers. Alrighty. So that's what we have right there. For this episode 2, we paid off our loan. We've got almost 10 mil in the bank. We're rising in prestige. We won a Rami for The Father of God, which means we have potentially a prestigious franchise that we can begin to make when we unlock sequels and other things like that. So we got some good directions to head forward to. August 1975. We're cooking. We might be on the way here. We might be on the way to making some stuff. We're still working towards that 40 mil and to move into that small office. Maybe we'll get there by the end of the decade or maybe into the 80s where things start to really kind of ratchet up. So we'll have to figure that out on our next episode. You know, thanks for tuning in. Again, if you have any kind of notes, comments, thoughts, be sure to post them in the comments below. Again, this is a whole work in process. We're trying out this whole thing with the Let's Plays. So I'm looking forward to actually hopping into episode 3 and seeing what happens there. So again, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one.